And then back to Iguodala to the rim. Oh, great block. James out of nowhere, skies to the rim. Boyd took the advantage and played off from inside the center square. Boyd kicked the goal. Boyd kicked the goal from inside the center. Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup. He's hands right back up.
Live it, breathe it, love it. All sports, double coverage.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. I'm Dom with the great man Sauce, and let's do this. Saucy, how you going?
Good, mate. I'm well. Back for another episode, show number 49. We're nearly up to the big 5-0, Dommer. Nearly up to the big 5-0, which is unbelievable. But we've got a lot to get through in terms of the sports wrap up. There will be a little bit of a shorter format and less in-depth analysis on the NBA, as we've been covering a lot of that in our lockdown lounges. So if we don't touch on something as much as you may have thought we may have or previously have, go back and check out our lockdown lounges, because we spoke about previous series and matchups and games that have happened before today in those episodes. But Doma, yourself, you've been well, brother?
Always, mate. You know, lockdown's going to end for us on Friday. So, I don't know, lockdown lounge, people have said, is it going to go? Is it not going to go? And there's a few suggestions that it's going to be...
We've got one ripper suggestion. We might have to change up the name.
Could be just Unlock Lounge, potentially, or Lockdown Lounge Reloaded. Who bloody knows? We'd probably be in lockdown in a month's time again anyway. So, but we'll probably... Sauce and I have decided we will bring it and make it a more consistent thing as well, because just for the pod listening to it, you will still get your sport fix, but also we can get through it quicker, in depth, but get through it quicker, easier to listen, and also produce more content for you weekly. Some people have said to us, we want to hear you a bit more, and why not do some lockdown lounges, some 20, 30 minutes. One was like 18 minutes. We can even get on to a 10-minute one just to give updates. And hey, it's more content for you, and we enjoy doing it as well. And the support's been amazing, as we've said in previous podcasts. But without further ado, Sauce, let's jump straight into it, because there's been a big week in sport. A lot of stuff will be covered on here. It'll cross over. There's a few segments tonight that will cross over onto Crunch Time. And on Crunch Time, which will drop on Saturday, there'll be full in-depth analysis when it comes to Euros and the Grand Prix from this week. I think there's a bit to discuss. But we'll start with AFL. We'll go through round 12, Sauce. These are the bye rounds. So Melbourne versus Brisbane, 22-point win for Melbourne. They're just looking really, really good. Brisbane had them in the first half of this game. They were all over them. And true great teams at the moment, Melbourne clawed their way back into the game and then ran away with it in the end. And Sauce, they got to 11 wins. It's all over. The 10.5. It's done.
It was done after they won 7 in a row, Doma.
It only took 12 rounds to do it, which I'm so surprised. But anyway, so good win for them. The Swans beat the Saints. No surprise. Saints did put up a fight. We said last week, like we said, it wouldn't surprise us if they did come out and put up a bit of a fight in this one, based of what happened the week before. And they did, but couldn't get the chocolates done in that game by 8 points. Then Collingwood upset the Crows in Adelaide by 5 points. Good win for the Pies. Yeah,
Didn't save Buckley though.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. Disappointing if you're an Adelaide fan, and disappointing if you're a footballer or any personnel a part of that football club. You would have thought they'd get the win in that, and clearly they didn't. Then we had Carlton West Coast. I'm not going to say it. We gave our spiel on Carlton last week, and to be honest, West Coast took out half their bloody team due to injury, and they put in a few debutants, and they still won this by 22 points. So Carlton fans, as we keep saying, go watch Blue Abroad. If you want to know how we feel, just imagine how a supporter feels, someone that actually goes for that football club. So if you want a good indication of where Carlton's sitting, go watch that channel and the content on there, because there's a good laugh, I can tell you, with a few of them, as Saucy has told us. Then we had Freo versus the Dogs. No-brainer. Dogs got that done, 93-65. And then the last game of the round, your mob. I did tip you. You tipped yourselves. But Richmond got this done by 39 points. Yep.
It's shut firmly. I've put the super glue on it. And look, we put up a good fight in the end, and we got bounced in the last quarter where they piled on a bunch of goals and ran away with it. But yeah, nonetheless, valiant effort. But Richmond's just too good. And look, they've won 2 in a row now. They're going to start ticking over. Hopefully, get that form going, leading into the second half of the season, and get right and cherry ripe for the finals run, which is what they seem to do every season. So it'll be interesting to see how they go in the next few weeks. And they've got some players set to come back as well.
Definitely.
So yeah, interesting.
They're just finding form, with that win, and due to the results of last week, they do play this week, but they put a nice 2-game buffer on 9th spot. So Richmond, if they can win it this week, potentially have a 3-game buffer. And Sauce, at this point in the season, you win your bye games, then you have your bye, you come back a bit fresher, you get your players back, and you're looking a bit different going into the second half of the year. As we said about Richmond, everyone's just having a laugh, and they're going to be struggling, and just as we keep saying, they're the reigning champs, mate. Just when they're down and out and kicked out of finals, that's when you can say they're finished. But until then, they can do anything, as we keep saying. Round 13, Sauce, we'll get into it quickly. Port versus Geelong in Adelaide. Who have you got?
Geelong versus Port Adelaide. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Port versus Geelong.
That's a tough one. That is a tough and very good game. So cracking game to start off the round tomorrow night. I'm gonna back Geelong in to get the upset. They'll probably be favourites, Port Adelaide, but let's see. This is a good indication. If Port Adelaide win, this is probably one of the more notable wins of the season. If they're able to get the job done, Cats are sitting, same record as them. So this is a tight matchup. But if the Cats want to show that they are a premiership type side, they need to win this game, and so does Port Adelaide's. But Port Adelaide should win. It's in their home ground. They got a stadium packed full of Adelaide, Port Adelaide supporters, sorry, and big home ground advantage. But I'm backing Geelong.
I'm going Port because they are flat track bullies and they just win games at home, and it's the only place they can win. Geelong coming off a bye, so I don't know how they'll respond to it, but I'm going with Port. Next up, Sydney versus Hawthorn in Sydney.
Swans.
Yeah, same here. Swans. Freo, Gold Coast.
Freo.
In Perth. Same with me. Freo. St Kilda, Adelaide.
I'm gonna Kazali Stadium. This is an interesting one. I think Saints put up a bit of a fight, but this is a typical game. Saints they put up a fight last week away from home, and they'll typically come out here and be flat. Does Adelaide have enough to beat them? Yeah, they do. I'm going to back the Crows.
I'm also backing them. I reckon they'll bounce back after a poor performance last week. My mob are back this week, Sauce, against GWS.
GWS.
Yeah, so am I. GWS. West Coast, Richmond in Perth.
This is going to be a great game, but I'm going to back the Tigers in.
I am backing the Tigers as well. And last game on the Monday, the Queen's birthday, a long weekend, we have Melbourne versus Collingwood.
Well, we know who everyone should pick. This will be one of the times that the D's go into this game and should be feeling mightily confident. Mightily confident.
Sauce, you do know what happens when there is changeovers in AFL with coaches. The team usually wins.
I believe he's coaching this game.
Pardon?
I believe he's coaching this game. No? Or is he out?
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
I think he's got one more game to coach. I think.
Oh,
I think
it's
that's
okay.
what I heard.
Anyway, I'm tipping the D's. All right, and the bye is Brisbane Carlton, Essendon, and Western Bulldogs. So, yeah, two top sides on the bye, a fringe team on the bye in Essendon, and the rabble, which Carlton probably will lose to the bye this week. It would not surprise me. All right, Sauce. Buckley.
Yeah, look,
He's done. You know what? We did say he's not going to last the year. We said he's going to go. He'll walk or he either loses his job. He's not getting a contract extension. Everyone was jumping up and down. He's going to get just stop. Like the ship is sinking at Collingwood, and he's jumped ship. And not for anything, he's actually jumped ship at a point where they've won a couple games now. I think it's like 2 out of the last 4 weeks. They've won games, and it just tests the football club in terms of like their coach is gone. Are they going to be in disarray, or was it Buckley? I don't know. He had to go. It's the same thing a bit like Brad Scott in North Melbourne when we had him. Good coach up until a certain point. When we were about to go through a rebuild, we're like, nah, we don't think Brad's the coach because of his game style. We had more veteran guys. Like we can't use him. So we moved on to a new coach. Bit of the same thing for Buckley. He's lost a few guys, a few key players. You can say that he lost like Phillips and who else has gone there? Phillips. There was Stevenson. Like he lost a few key guys or role players.
They pushed Trelaw
as well.
Out the door.
So they're in a rebuild, and you got to think to yourself: do you go fresh start on a rebuild with a new coach, or do you persist with the coach that everyone's pretty much getting tired of, and it becomes a bit monotonous in a football club? So he's gone, he's done. We wish him all the best. He did say I want to spend some more time with his family, with his boys, and forge a bit of a relationship with his family, I guess, because as you know, in all sports sources, a head coach, whether it be basketball, NFL, AFL, you don't get much time to your family at all, even in the off season. So
jam-packed.
It is a full-on job. So
yeah, look, good luck to Bucks and whatever he decides to do next, whether it be assistant coach or something like that. And I'm sure he will find another job at another football club down the line somewhere. But yeah, it was a matter of time. We called it. I'm inclined to think, the way that they've portrayed this today is that he's decided to leave. He's decided it's time. I feel it was, Bucks, you either leave on your own. He got tapped on the shoulder and he said, you either leave on your own or we're getting rid of you because you are not the next coach to take us into the next stage of this football club, which is a rebuild and finding new young talent to contest for flags in 3 to 4 years from now. Because let's be honest, Collingwood's fallen off the wayside. This was a team that was, top 4 material. They played in prelim. They made a grand final. But now they've just gone completely the other way, and they've got guys there that are on the way out. Pendles doesn't have many seasons left. Side bottom, some of their top talent is on the back end of their career. It is time to look ahead to potentially building young talent and rebuilding that list. But yeah, look, good luck to Bucks and whatever the future beholds.
Done, Sauce. Very well said. Few people joining us. Adam, imagine clashing the pod with State of Origin. Apologies. Joel, how you going? Renee, how you going? And Ant, how you going?
There's no Victorian team in there. That's why. Sorry, Adam.
Should it be Queensland versus New South Wales, or should it just be Melbourne Storm versus Queensland and Melbourne Storm? But no, I'm taking it too far. I'm just an idiot. Ignore me. All right, let's move on. Sauce. We do have some soccer, and we'll cover soccer how we covered the EPL. We're going to go through the Euros. Apologies, we're going to cover the Euros how we covered the EPL and Champions League. So it is starting this week. We're looking forward to it. Obviously, we missed out on it last year, and it's always good to get international talent together to compete in a tournament outside of the World Cup. And very exciting time, Sauce. Very exciting. So I'll run through the games, and then I'm going to ask you for your tournament winner. All right. So Saturday, opening up with Wales. Oh no, sorry, with Turkey versus Italy at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome. Wales versus Switzerland. These are all the games that will be on before our next podcast. And Denmark, Finland, Belgium, Russia, England, Croatia, Austria, Macedonia, Netherlands, Ukraine, Scotland, Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, Spain, Sweden, Hungary, Portugal. And then in the morning source of our pod, France versus Germany.
That's a great matchup.
That's the big game right there. So
that group there, I believe, what is it? Group F.
Yeah.
I think Group F with France, Germany, Hungary, and Portugal is an absolutely feisty group. There's going to be tough competition there. I don't really. It's tough to see who gets through there. I think out of there, I'm going to say France 100% gets through, and then obviously it's out of Germany and Portugal, whoever gets that second spot. So it will be interesting. The third spot also has a chance to possibly qualify. I think that has to do with goal difference and potential points and things like that.
Nice. All right, Sauce. So your prediction to take out the Euros 2021, who have you got?
Look, it's a tough one. I'm going to say this. My smoky prediction in terms of, not favorited to win the tournament would be Italy. I feel like their team is coming together. They've had guys in there that have had really good seasons and have played consistent football. And they've got a couple of young up-and-coming players like Barella and Chiesa is in there. So some youth, which is what you need. But I think I genuinely think that. Look, I don't want to say, but I think France is going to win the tournament. They won the World Cup. It's a lot to put on their shoulders. But at one point, France wasn't even the favourites. They're firmed into favourites now at 550. They were, I think, 650. A few weeks ago, and they weren't even the favourites. England was the favourites. I'll say this: England will not win the Euros. I can 100% tell you confidently that they will not win. I don't see them.
What makes you say that? What makes you say that, though?
Because they find a way to fail every time, every major tournament. Doesn't matter what players they have. They've had great teams in the past, and they've found a way to fail. So I'm not going to ride against history. Yeah, history's there to be made to be broken. That's fine. England, shut me up and go out there and win the tournament. But I'm going to sit here on the other side of the fence as a pundit and say you will not win the tournament. Now, I did make that prediction with the Nets, and I've reneged on that. But it's a bit of a different story because they don't have a Kevin Durant on their side. But look, I don't think they can win. Everyone out there that's been saying that. I like Italy's chances, and they're my smoky pick. But I think France has too much power, and you just look at that side from front to back. They've just got quality all over. Got quality all over. So they've got guys that are in good form, that were leading into this tournament. Obviously, Kante there, and then you got Pogba who played well for United the back half of the season. Then Mbappe, so he should be cherry ripe to go. Obviously, after his injury issues in the Champions League, so he should be ready to go. But yeah, I'm going to say France, and that's not really going out on a limb, but I think that's definitely one. And then outside of those, I think I just don't know if Belgium's an interesting one because there's a few guys in that side that have had really good seasons. Hazard, I don't know the situation there. I wouldn't expect him to play. He's been injured, on and off for the last 2 years. There's a good chance that even if does get up, he gets injured again during the tournament. So I wouldn't rely on him to be fit and saying, because they've got Hazard and so on. I think it's more the players in that side is Lukaku, De Bruyne. They've got a few other guys in there too. Mertens that plays, I think he's Belgian as well. So they've got attacking threats going forward. But yeah, I think that's an interesting one. And then don't rule out the previous champions, Portugal. I think Ronaldo's prime for a big tournament. Bruno Fernandes has had a great season. They got Yao Felix, who's on the way up. So it's firming to be an absolute cracker dommer. But I'm going to say France is my out and out pick, and Italy's my smoky pick. The Euros is one interesting to watch. I think if you're looking towards the World Cup. The Euros, you'll find that teams who have done quite well in the Euros this time round, leading into the World Cup, they build chemistry and they do well in the World Cup. So, previous World Cup winner, France, they did really well in the previous Euros. I think they made it to the semis and they lost or made it to the final, one of the two, and they ended up going on to win the World Cup. So, these are tournaments that you'd be looking towards for teams to play well and then potentially lead that form on into World Cups as an international side. But yourself, Doma, who's your tip?
Well, you know where I'm going now. By the way, Joel, Italy does look good. I'm with Sauce. They're going to be my smoky. I reckon they got some good young kids coming through, mixed with some experience. I reckon they'll show us something. Us Italians here, obviously Australians, but Australian Italians, and that's our background, Sauce and I, and even like Azzurro cards as well. We'll be looking forward to it, and we're hoping that we've progressed from the point where Balotelli was our main guy in the Italian squad, and we're relying on him. And so hopefully they do really well. But you know where I'm going, Sauce. You said England haven't got a Kevin Durant, and the team that I'm picking does have the Kevin Durant. So I'm clearly going with Portugal. Not for the fact that
back winners, that'd be massive.
Not just for the fact of Ronaldo, for the fact of how this team has completely changed since 2018 in the last World Cup. Completely changed. And how guys have come into form, and there's some absolute guns in this team now. Obviously, guys like Andre Silva is a gun now, Portuguese player. Diogo Jota, Yao Felix, Ronaldo. Do I need to say more on him? You got Neves, Renato Sanchez, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Yao Moutinho still going around, and then
good side. That's what I'm saying. They got quality.
João Cancelo, Jose Fonte, Ruben Diaz. We saw what
surely Pepe still gets the call up,
mate. We saw what he did. Mate, as the centre back, the bull, the brick wall
for Porto in the Champions League. Surely he gets the call up.
He starts, and then they've got Rui Patricio there as their keeper, so they've got a decent keeper as well. I'm telling you, Saul, I don't know. And you know what Ronaldo's like. Obviously, they failed in the Serie A. And Ronaldo knows that he's running out of time. He knows. He's not stupid. He's one of the most self-aware guys when it comes to his legacy. He cares about his legacy so much. And he knows this time around that he's got a Euro. He got injured last time in that game, and they found a way to win. But this time around, Sauce, I reckon he's just going to be – he's fit and firing. He's ready to go. And they got literally the pieces around him that can actually help him win the title, go back-to-back in Euros. And not for anything, the form of this team with the youngsters that they've had and how they're starting to come into some real prime in their career and the football that they're playing. A lot of them are in that terms of that Mbappe type prime and that Doncic type prime, as we've discussed. It's like pre-prime dominance. They're killing it, and they haven't even hit that age yet. So they're only going to get better.
$9.50 on Sportsbet to win the lot, Portugal.
How much?
$9.50.
$9.50. You know what? It's good odds.
Very good odds.
You got the
Italy was actually $11 the other day, and they've come into $8.50, and it's all got to do with their lead up games where they've been smashing teams. So people have dropped in on them, and they've come in from $11, which I checked just the other day. So interesting.
The thing that hurts Portugal, and there's the risk that you run, obviously, with picking them to win the whole thing, is that group that Sauce mentioned with Hungary, France, and Germany. That's the risk you run. Like, if Portugal loses that first game against Hungary, they're in a big trouble early. They need to win that game. That game, get some points on the board, and then try and beat the losing team out of that France and Germany game. Whoever loses that, they need to beat when they play them. So, or the team that loses at like minor draw to get a point to stay ahead there. Like that's what they need to hope for. But I'm looking forward to it, Sauce. It's going to be good. You've gone France, I've gone Portugal. You've got the future GOAT in Mbappe and the current GOAT. So that's our picks. So I look forward to that starting this weekend. All right, Sauce, we'll move on. As we said, we'll cover this a lot more in depth when we get to crunch time this week. Adam said if France wins, are Mbappe cards out of reach for the average collector? They were already high. Pretty sure they dropped a little bit, not much.
Yeah, they dropped a little
slightly.
bit. They dropped slightly. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, he's Topps Chrome 2017 Topps Chrome Champions League. The base card PSA 10 dropped down from $1,600 down to $1,300. And the last month, I think that's even dropped down a little bit more. It's down like 11%. So he dropped off a little bit after he's not getting knocked out in the Champions League. That's just that card specifically. The PSA 9 variant didn't really drop too much, a little bit, 12%, 11% again. So it seems as though people realize that Mbappe is the next generation of talent, that even the getting kicked out of the Champions League didn't really affect his cards too much. Yeah, he dropped off, but he didn't, sell off 40%. Or less, which is what we've seen in some of the basketball cards. We've seen like LeBron cards down 40-50% and KD cards down 40-50%, which is just nuts, and he's still in the playoffs. So it's interesting to see that there's strength in the Mbappe market and that his cards have not fallen off a cliff or taken a massive hit, which is good for soccer collectors out there, that the market stabilized, especially on Mbappe, because he's got and a next 10-year part of his career that he could be anything, Doma. Anything.
Well, you got to look at it too in the sense of Ronaldo and Messi won't be there in the next 10 years. So 2 of the top dogs in 2 of the biggest teams pretty much non-existent. I'm not saying Barca will be in terms of their presence in those teams will be non-existent because they'll retire within the next 10 years. The thing that Mbappe has to be banking on is he's out and out the best player in the world, and he's literally going to be looking a bit the same as what Ronaldo's done to guys surrounding him in different leagues, to the likes of, well, obviously Haaland, Foden, Mason Mount. Mason Mount's never going to be the best player in the world, but these young guys that everyone's got their eyes on, really. Your Jude Bellinghams, Moukoko, because these kids, they're good already. You don't know what their next step could be. The next step could be that Mbappe type level and potentially even eclipsing him. You just don't know anymore. Like, the talent and athleticism of these guys is just ridiculous. So there's a lot of hidden gems out there. But I do think that at $1,300 Sauce, I look at Ronaldo and Messi, and I'll look at like their mega cracks cards and how expensive they are. And then I look at Mbappe, and then I still it's not hobby buying advice. Take it as you will with a grain of salt or whatever you want. I just think that's cheap for Mbappe for a PSA 10. I just think that's cheap. This is a guy that's accomplished more. He's accomplished more than Ronaldo and Messi has already on the international stage already. He's already eclipsed them on that. So now all he has to do is just rack up literally 3 or 4 Ballon d'Ors, and you can make the argument he's better than them. What's to say he doesn't win another World Cup or Euros? What's to say that doesn't happen for him? There's a lot of young guys in that France team that are only going to get better, and there's upcoming kids coming into like French players that are good. So, like, the world is his oyster. It's just how it plays out for him, I guess. And not for anything, sport is luck sometimes. And you just got to get the ball. It could be to bounce the right way, curl the other way. It doesn't, like, You never know in sport. You never know. Like, look at Greece. They won a Euro in 2004, for example. No one expected that to happen.
They're still partying off it.
No, yeah, but still, Source, like, that's a great achievement. No one expected that to happen.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, and in Champions Leagues, you don't expect Chelsea to win it this year. You thought, oh, yeah, they'll get knocked off. Didn't happen. They got the win. Man City were the favourite.
Well,
Oh, they're a shoo-in.
Anything can happen, Doma. Anything
That's
can
it,
happen.
sport.
It's where dreams are made.
Last one before we finish. Joel, I don't know if Ronaldo will ever retire. He seems like the competitive guy that would never want to quit. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, he's the GOAT. He'll win a Ballon d'Or at like 50. It'd be amazing. It'd be so good. All right, let's move on to F1 Source. Needless to say, it was off its head. Azerbaijan GP in Baku. This was crazy. Absolutely insane. The most exciting, controversial, entertaining race we've had so far of the 2021 season by far. Hands down, the best. Leclerc started on pole. As you know, with Ferraris, they slow down after about 10 laps, mate. It doesn't take that long for him to decline in speed, and he dropped off at the beginning. Leclerc, Verstappen got in front. Hamilton was there in second, and they were fighting for it. And then Checo Perez worked his way up, and they all stopped to pit. And it was a bit of a blunder type situation again, you could say, for Mercedes in terms of their strategists. And Hamilton came out behind Perez, and for how long do you reckon? So it was about 25 laps. They were fighting, literally fighting for that second position, and it got close on the DRS on the straight to within 200th of a second. It just got really, really, really close. But then on the there was a safety car on the 32nd lap.
We had a rear tyre blowout
for Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. Now, pay attention to that. There was a rear tyre blowout. Pirelli changed the PSI on the tyres pre-race. It was a decision made by them, and that tyre blew unexpectedly. The data didn't tell the team that it was going to happen, and it did. It was a pretty bad crash. Lucky that he walked away all right. But we resume. Verstappen, obviously off the safety car, guns it. Then, Source, we get to lap 49 of 51, and the same thing happens to Verstappen unexpectedly. Data didn't show anything on Red Bull. His back rear blew out while he was in front by about 8 seconds. He goes into the barrier on the straight. Debris car everywhere.
Couldn't believe it, Doma. Couldn't believe it.
We were just we got a group and we were chatting with some of the boys. Joel's in there, Adam's in there, obviously Azuro, Splash, Ant, Mast, Shane, everyone's in there. Us. And we were just like in disbelief. We were just like, what is happening? So they red flagged the session. Now, there's 3 ways it was going to go. There was going to be a rolling start. So at this point in time, Perez was second. So rolling start with Perez in first. Standing start on the straight to start the race again off the lights, or they red flag the entire race completely and they end it there. And if they ended it there, even though Verstappen crashed, he would have won the race and got the full points. But they decided we'll clear the debris. There was still enough time left. There was enough light. The sun was shining there at Baku. So they get up onto the pitch on the straight, Source, ready to go. They're doing a standing start, not a rolling start. Checo Perez. And all of us in the group said to each other, if it's a standing start, it's over. Hamilton gets him on the first corner and he wins the race, without a doubt. Hamilton just showed the pace there. And honestly, he's technically gifted in that stuff. He's really good at overtaking, and he's just a gun. He just knows what he's doing. Also, we thought, Source.
They rolled up. Well, they rolled up to
they do a formation lap before they roll up.
Then they rolled up and they started, and they showed a front-on spot, and you had a Hamilton who was in second position behind Perez, and you could see his car was smoking, like
The brakes.
visibly smoking a lot, right? It looked like he was heating up. Take it away, Doma. What happened
So
next?
it was smoking everywhere. The brakes obviously were super duper hot, like crazy hot. Lights go out. We're all on the edge of our seat. Hamilton edges out Perez, and we've gone, oh my God, he's going to win it. He's gone to break into the first corner, Sauce, and ladies and gents, and his front two tires locked up, and he's literally just gone straight through into the emergency lane, off the track, into last position. It was unbelievable, Sauce.
He's gone from securing. How many points do you get for a second position, Doma?
18.
18 points. So he's gone from
back in front on the World Championship standings because Verstappen's getting 0, a big fat donut.
This was a big mistake, Doma, because you could have taken him in front. Don't worry, just get the points because Verstappen was getting 0. This could be the difference come the end of the championship. We might look back on this Azerbaijan Grand Prix and go, this is where Hamilton lost it because he could have just, doesn't matter. I understand you want to win the race, but hey, Perez is not your challenger in terms of world championship. It's Verstappen. He's getting 0 points today. Let's just secure the points. And he was saying that on the radio before, so that's why I was baffled why he went so hard. But why his brakes locked up like that, who knows? They were overheating. You could see it from the front on shot before they restarted the race. But it was just crazy stuff. We couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it.
I was jumping up and down. Everyone was losing their absolute marbles. It would have been good to just be with each other, see like our reactions. We were just going crazy.
But that being said, Doma, we had guys finishing up there on the podium who haven't been up there for a while as well, and then some guys who are familiar faces on the podium, but just haven't had the right car to get the job done and be able to get up there. But it was good to see some fresh faces up there.
Definitely. So we had Perez winning it, Vettel in second, Gasly third, Leclerc fourth, Norris fifth, Alonso sixth, Tsunoda seventh, Sainz 8th, Ricciardo 9th, Kimi Raikkonen in 10th, which is awesome. The World Championship is now Verstappen still on 105, Hamilton still on 101, Perez moves to third with 69 points, Norris 66, Leclerc 52, Bottas 47, did not even finish in the top 10. Sainz 42, Gasly 31, Vettel 28, and Ricciardo 26. And the constructors, Red Bull on top, 174, Mercedes 148, Ferrari 94, McLaren 92, AlphaTauri 39, Aston Martin 37, Alpine 27, Alfa Romeo 2, Haas and Williams still donut kings on 0. Anyway, so also we'll move on because the time's actually getting away from us. We will be covering this a bit more on Crunch Time anyway. We'll be covering it. The boys there are into their F1. I think they've got a bit to say on that. And we'll be talking about cards, the F1 cards in relation to that in the hobby and how it may impact it. All right, Sauce, NBA today. Game 2, Philly versus Atlanta. And we had game 1 of the Clips versus Utah. Now, we'll start with Philly and Atlanta. Game 2, it's 1-1. Philly came out of the gates roaring, mate. They just were like literally bounced them in the first quarter. And in typical Hawks fashion, as we've got to know them during these playoffs, they grind. And they grind, and they grind, and they grind. And they can shoot the bloody ball. So they got themselves back into it. But obviously, in the end, fell short. Your thoughts, Sauce, the defense and their rotational switches on Trae Young were unbelievable today. Whether it was Matisse Thybulle or Ben Simmons,
they made it much more difficult for him today, Doma. They didn't allow him to get that penetration as easy into the paint. They made it more difficult for him, and it's what they need to do. They can't make it so easy for the bloke to get to the free throw line. They fouled him easily in the last game, and it allows him to get his rhythm. So played a lot better today. I think this is going to be an interesting series because albeit Sixers got out to a fast start, Atlanta brought it back. And it wasn't until one man, Mr. Shake and Bake Milton, came on in the fourth quarter, stayed ready. This is what it's all about. And we talk about it, Dom. We talk about it. Role players, the other guys, right? The other guys stepping up when they're called upon. Shake and bake Milton. Sat on the bench. I don't think he played in game one. And came out here, stayed ready. And I think he gave him 14 or 16 points in the fourth quarter.
He shot 4 or 5 from 3. 80%
4 or 5 from 3. There you go. And he gave him 14 points all in the fourth. He didn't play the whole first half, Thomas.
He was just dropping bombs. And mind you, Philly didn't score one bench point in the first half of basketball.
That's probably why Doc Rivers cracked the shit. Is like, well, I'm going to give the other guys on the bench a go because it doesn't seem like the bench guys who I've put in there want to actually, put some points on the board and make an impact.
Well, he's one more minute source after that performance.
For sure. So, look, it was a must win by Sixers. Good to get the job done. They ended up winning convincingly. Let's see what they can do going back to Atlanta. Joel Embiid, which we mentioned in a previous lockdown lounge, we thought we were a bit worried about his injury. He looked very good today, recovering on defense, breaking up lobs, blocking shots, rebounding hard, doing it all, hitting threes, jumpers. It just looked like the JoJo that we know. And look, I'm excited. This is going to be a great series. And I'm excited for Trae Young too, because it seems to be that this guy, this is the moments he lives for. So let's see how he turns it on back at home for the next two. If I'm Trae Young and the Hawks, these are two must-win games. I think you don't want this going to a game 7. They want to try to round this out in 6 games. If it goes to a game 7, I'm calling the Sixers, obviously with their previous playoff experience in there. So I think they'll have enough there. But I'm still backing the Sixers to take out this series. After what I've seen today, where they able to they scored inside at will, and then they were able to hit threes, getting Seth Curry involved. He was good. So it was an all-round good game for the Sixers.
100%. Completely agree. And needless to say, you know how Sauce and I do feel about Joel Embiid on this show, and we've said it countless times. So we're going to make an effort not to say it again this week. So you know how we feel about him. Just turn the television on, get your popcorn, sit back, and just enjoy how good of a basketball player this guy actually is. He's a monster. He's entertaining Sauce. Needless to say, he had a bit of a brain fart at one stage in this game. We thought he was going to be kicked out.
I thought he was going to get ejected, and that was going to be straight the Lemon of the week right there. But he saved himself the Lemon of the week. He
did save himself. Next up, we had Clips versus Jazz in what looks like is going to be a super competitive series. So let it off, Sauce. You got through all this. I missed pretty much the end of this game, unfortunately, which it looked like it came down to the wire and was pretty good.
Yeah, it came down to the wire. Very interesting game. Well done to the Jazz. Mike Conley didn't play, hamstring injury. Is he back for the next game? They think he may be back. It's not. It's possibility. It's not 100%. So we'll see there. I understand they were missing Conley. But there's one thing notable here that sticks out. There's 2 things. Sorry, Kawhi Leonard 9 of 19 from the field and only 23 points. And then on the flip side, you got Donovan Mitchell 16 of 30 from the field and 45 points, and the Jazz win by 3. So Donovan Mitchell has gone off for a 45-point bomb, and they've only won by 3. Kawhi Leonard has had an absolutely atrocious game, scored 23 points only, shot 9 of 19 from the field. And, we know what we hold Kawhi to high standards because we've seen what he's done in the past. So this for Kawhi, albeit was an above average game, it wasn't the elite standard of game that's going to get you the wins, especially on the road in Utah, where it's a very, very, very tough place to win. One of the hardest buildings to walk into. We know all the stories. The fans there are just bananas. So it was a packed stadium today. So it's worrying signs for the Jazz, I'm saying. If I'm the Clippers, I'm walking away from this game going, you know what? We didn't play our best, and we only lost by 3. I mean, our best player had an off night. He didn't play elite. So, I mean, Paul George, once again, playoff potato, showing up big when it counted. 4 of 17 from the field. Say that again. 4 of 17 from the field. The only thing that saved him was getting to the free throw line 10 times. Albeit he was better in the last series. He was very, very average today, jacking up threes and struggling to hit them. And look, he did get he got a big three down the stretch when it was 6 points and got it back to 3 points. They were able to get the stop on the other end. They went down and then they weren't able to put up the three or try hit a game-winning shot. Did baffle me why they didn't call a timeout because they rebounded the ball with 15 or 12 seconds left on the clock. Why they didn't call a timeout, advance the ball, draw something up, and try to get a wide open shot. They just let it play out, and it didn't work out for them. So I sort of put that last 20 seconds or that last 10 seconds on Coach Lou. I think Coach Lou should have called a timeout there, drawn something up, and you live and die with the results with the set play rather than just trying to dribble it out. And then what ended up happening is Marcus Morris ended up getting blocked by Rudy Gobert, and that's it. It was game over.
Done. So it'll be an interesting series. As we said, it potentially could go to 6 or 7 in the long run. Next up tomorrow, we do have Denver versus Phoenix in Game 2. So stay tuned for that. And big props up to Nikola Jokic, who got awarded the MVP for the season.
And there was any games which we didn't cover, go back and have a look through Lockdown Lounges where we talked about a lot of these games in depth, Bucks, Nets, and also, the previous series in Clippers and the Mavs, the roundup from Game 7. So
if you want to hear me talk about tune in. Batman and Alfred, you can go listen to the Dallas Mavericks recaps. If you want to hear me,
and the last Lockdown Lounge where I go on record saying that the Nets are winning the championship. So I'll just put on the record officially on the Double Coverage podcast that the Nets are taking it all. Bar health, they're winning everything. I just can't see them getting beaten by anyone.
Done. All right, Sauce, let's move on. There is a massive, and I mean massive card on the horizon for this week for the UFC. So I want you to run through it. Was there a card this week, actually, first of all?
Well, yeah, so there was a card. So I'll just bring up the card.
Then we got the big one.
So I'll run through the main card, as I usually do. At women flyweight division, you had Monta Del Rosa KO in the second round over Ariana Lipsik. And in the middleweight division, you had Gregory Rodriguez defeating Dusko Todorovic third round decision. Welterweight, you had Santiago Ponzinibbio defeated Miguel Baeza in third round decision. In the middleweight, you had Roman Dolidze defeating Loreno Staropoli in third round decision. And the heavyweight co-main event, Marcin Tybura knocked out Walt Harris in the first round. And in the heavyweight division, you had Jarinzo Rosinku, which I did say would get the win last week, and he KO'd Augusto Sakai in the first round. Rosinku is a monster. He's an up-and-comer in that heavyweight division. I will just have a quick look at the fights, and you had Rosinku is in 6th position. He's up-and-coming, I believe. I will check out his last results. I think he's won his last 4 fights now, I believe. His last loss was to Ngannou, right? He got knocked out in the first 20 seconds. Probably, a bit embarrassed with that situation, but we've seen what Ngannou has been a beast. He's won his last 3 fights since then. So he's up and coming. He's sitting 6th on the rankings. So it will be interesting to see the build up there. Marcin Tybura with that win over Walt Harris sees him jump 3 spots and sees Walt Harris drop back down 3 spots, which is, unfortunate for Walt. But other than that, that was a good card, Doma, because there's 2 main event fights. There was 2 big KOs in the first round. We always say the heavyweights, they throw hammers, and we've seen it firsthand on the weekend. But this weekend, Doma, this is where the money is made. This is where Dana White, the big dog, puts together the fights that the people want to see. It's UFC 263. I'll run through the main card. This is an absolutely jam-packed card. Light heavyweight division, you got Paul Craig against Jamal Hill. In the welterweight division, you got Demian Maia versus Belal Muhammad. This is a good fight. I expect Belal Muhammad to get the win. Then we got welterweight Leon Edwards against Nate Diaz. He's back in action. Nate motherfucking Diaz is back, right? That's what we want to see. The man, He's one of the most entertaining fighters there is out there. This is going to be a great fight. Leon Edwards, great record, 18-3. Nate Diaz, in terms of a professional MMA record, he's actually 21-12. He's had quite a lot of losses. But the thing is, his fights are always so entertaining. Very rarely the guy gets knocked out. He always finds ways to just keep going, keep pushing forward. He fights scrappy and stands on his feet. It just makes for entertaining viewing. So tune in for that one. And then you got the co-main event. You got flyweight title bout. Davison Figueiredo, who we know finished his last fight super quick, so he's ready with the quick turnaround to defend his belt again against Brandon Moreno. So that will be a great fight. And then the main event, you got the middleweight division, Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya against Marvin, the Italian Stallion Vettori. I don't really know if that's his nickname, but I've just coined that, the Italian Stallion. And look, this is going to be a good fight. We've seen the back and forth. They had a bit of a talk, a bit of a face-off, the virtual face-off. It was pretty funny. There was Vettori dropping the Vafancools left, right, and center to Israel Adesanya. Anyone out there who doesn't know what that means, that pretty much just means go F yourself. So
it's very funny.
It was pretty funny. So this will be a great fight. I expect Izzy to get the job done. As much as I want to see the Italian do well, Vettori, Adesanya, we've seen in his last fight, he went up the weight division and it cost him. It cost him the win. Cost him his perfect record. That going up that weight division where, albeit he was able to land punches, but because there was a guy on the other side who was a heavier fighter, his punches weren't knockout power. He landed punches, but he just didn't have the knockout power. And then when it went to the ground, which is what I've always said about Adesanya, where no one is able to get him to the ground and keep it to the ground and do the ground and pound work. Well, in his last fight, that's exactly what happened when he lost to Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight title. He just grounded pounded him. So I think Vettori, he's got a big frame. So I think that's something that he should have been looking at in how Jan in the last fight, Izzy's last fight, was able to use that ground game. And I think he should implement a bit of that and hopefully, maybe get the win. But I still just think Adesanya back at his right weight level will be too strong. But cracking card, Doma.
That's going to be good. It's going to be good. Now, following on from UFC, we're going to stick to the fighting. Now, we're going into Le Mans of the week. I think everyone knows where we're probably going to go with this, and rightfully so. Now, we're going to transition from UFC because we've said it before on this show, and we've mentioned Dana White, and I'm going to mention him again. Dana, please do something. Please do something. I'm going to set the scene source, and then you can just go and run with it. All right? Because I don't know what I watched. I watched cuddling. It was like cuddling a teddy bear out there on Monday. I don't know. I jumped onto social media, and then everything that was in my face was literally about this fight. It was all about Logan Paul. We'll talk about what he was wearing in Hobby Talk. We'll get to that. But it was just all Logan Paul. And then the aftermath was just as bad as what was witnessed in the ring. Besides the point that he just pretty much hugged Floyd Mayweather for 8 rounds and was an absolute indictment. I was just baffled at the aftermath where, not for anything, Logan Paul, he spoke really well at the end, and so did Mayweather. No, I'm not going to be bagging Logan Paul and Money Mayweather because the guy's name is Money Mayweather for a reason. He doesn't care if it's a little geriatric show or a circus, or he has to be a sideshow freak for 8 rounds, mate. And if you're getting paid $100 million and you're one of the best pound-for-pound fighters to ever walk this planet, as he said, he's the king of legalized robberies, mate. He's the king of them. Like, my whole thing was the aftermath. Now, I'll tell you what, you're pushing me. Honestly, you're pushing me. The herd, you are pushing me to the ends that I don't want to go to, and I don't want to have to give you Le Mans of the week, but you were part of the media cohort surrounding boxing and boxing itself that were making remarks as outlandish as, like, Logan Paul. Yeah, he does have some boxing ability there. Yeah, he's very, very raw, but the whole point of, oh man, he kept toe to toe with Floyd. You know, he held his own against Floyd. This guy, you know, if he had more time, he'd probably have a chance against Floyd. In what world, Sauce? Like, honestly, in what world? Like, what are you watching? At least when you praise Pulisic, at least Pulisic has ability in America to dominate. Like, this guy is a YouTuber, and no disregard and disrespect to Logan Paul, because the empire he's built is like A1. He's out there creating content and trying to maximize his revenue as much as possible. And not for anything, this is the king of content creation. This fight here is content creation at its pinnacle, mate. You fight 8 rounds and get paid $20 million. Yes, please. And not for anything, Floyd Mayweather did nothing for 8 rounds. Pretty much just kept his hands up and walked around. Yeah, he threw a couple of punches. He let Logan hit him a couple of times. Yeah, whatever. They hugged each other for 95% of this fight, Sauce, which was nice. You know, nice and intimate, up and close, cuddling each other. They could have stayed home and did that, mate. You didn't have to televise them hugging each other for 8 rounds. So you know what I did last night, Sauce? You know what I did? To put into perspective the media and just the outright stupidity of pundits out there, and even boxing. People in boxing. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. So, giving these just outlandish reviews of Logan Paul potentially could have beaten him, you know, and he won a few rounds. And I went back, Sauce, and I grabbed Floyd Mayweather, went back in the time machine, and I went to another fight that was set up in the same sort of promotion, not in terms of under the lights of what the previous production was, in the McGregor versus Mayweather fight. They had a world tour of just talking shit to each other, obviously, and then they had the big main event fight. Now, I'm going to bring you back to that, because you know what I watched in that fight, Sauce? I watched a fighter against a boxer. I didn't watch a YouTuber against a boxer. And you know what I noticed, Sauce? Immediately, and not for anything, going into that fight, I didn't think that McGregor had a chance. The only way I thought McGregor had a chance was Floyd gets a bit cocky, throws something, and then he gets that big left straight that McGregor has, and he hits him on the chin with all his power on a one lucky shot, and he knocks him out. Only way that McGregor was beating him. You know what I noticed, Sauce, when I watched McGregor and Mayweather? Mayweather actually tried in a few rounds to at least 30% of his capability. He was throwing punches, throwing combos, ducking and weaving, doing all this stuff. Literally engaged McGregor. McGregor was throwing punches, doing this, all this stuff. Mayweather didn't try. He used like 5% of his boxing ability in this. He's just like, I'm here for 8 rounds to get paid $100 million. It's an exhibition fight. As long as I don't lose it, who gives a crap? It's an indictment on boxing. The Le Mans of the week is going to go to boxing in general, and everyone around boxing that thought that Logan Paul had even the slightest chance of winning this fight. What is boxing becoming, Sauce? I said to you, if we want to see this type of crap, go watch the WWE. That's at least entertaining. And the sad and harsh reality behind it, and it's fact, is these WWE superstars, I'm giving credit to them, they grind 365 days a year, and they ain't getting paid $20 million, $100 million for 24 minutes of fighting. Never.
It's a disgrace, Doma. It's a disgrace. To put that into perspective, Khabib Nurmagomedov, the UFC fighter, in his whole career, made $15 million.
And people say, oh, but endorsements. I don't care about endorsements. We're talking about the pay packet they get off the fight. That's what we're talking about. Like, and it's become a circus.
It has become a circus, Tom. And I'll tell you one thing, Doma. Ladies and gents, the reason why he's been talking on the fight, because he actually watched the fight. Me, when Doma asked me, are you going to watch the fight? I said, Dom, I've got better things to do than watch this rubbish. This is a waste of time to tune in and waste my time watching something that is completely fabricated for money. Completely fabricated for money. And anyone out there who went and bought that Thriller pay-per-view, you should be ashamed as well, because you are putting money in these guys' pockets. Now, no offense to Money Mayweather, no offense to Logan Paul. You know, you're just there to make money, and you've done it well. But you're putting more money in these guys' pockets that don't really need it. Let's be honest. Mayweather's got that much money, he wipes his ass with a $100 bill, right? Logan Paul the same. That is a disgrace to the sport of boxing. It is a disgrace to other professional fighters. I feel sorry for fighters who put in their hard years of work and, you know, actually go into serious fights where they could genuinely get hurt, because let's be honest, this fight was a joke, and get paid maybe 1/10 the amount that Logan Paul got paid. And then Mayweather on the flip side, maybe 1/100th.
And now, like, before you do give the shout out to them and give it to them, I just want to compare this to something hobby related. All right. So people that listen to this, I know people that listen to this know what I'm talking about. I never spoke about it, and Source never spoke about it. All right. But you're going to know our true feelings. You'll get the hint when I say it. When Logan Paul came out and said, oh, we're advocating for fighters to get more money, why are you the advocate? Why is the YouTuber the advocate? If I was watching Mayweather versus Canelo and saying, oh, you know what, we should be fighting for fighters to get more money in their pocket, you know, and we'll make a big thing out of it. We'll have a proper fight. You know, we'll have undercard where we have decent fighters, you know, up-and-comers, you know, actual professional amateur fighters. Yeah? And we want to showcase their talents, and then it's Canelo versus Mayweather, not Mayweather versus Logan Paul. How is Logan Paul, a content creator, advocating for fighters? He's advocating for other YouTubers to step up and fight professional fighters and get paid to be a sideshow freak for 8 rounds. So you know what I compare it to, honestly, Source? The egg card. The egg card was meant to be advocate for people in the hobby. It was a shamble, and it was a disgrace to the hobby, in my opinion. I thought we'll give him back to the kids with the egg card. When we give him back to the kids, where's the egg card gone now? No one talks about it. Everyone laughs about it now. I thought you had a general movement behind it. You wanted to help the kids, and you wanted to donate it to charities and do all this stuff. What happened? Disappeared. You didn't advocate for shit. You advocated for yourself. It's called pump and dump. That's what you did. And the same things happen here. Logan Paul hasn't advocated for other fighters. Advocated for himself. And it's all a lead-up, Source. It's all a sequential timeline of events. And you look at it. KSI versus Logan Paul. At least it was YouTuber against YouTuber and cult followings, whatever. Then it went Jake Paul, because he knocked out Nate Robinson, fought Ben Askren. Yeah, so Jake Paul, who actually can box, I'll give him credit. He can actually box. He's not like the greatest ever, but he can actually box. It would have been much more interesting to see Jake Paul fight Mayweather than Logan Paul. But he fought Ben Askren, knocked him out. Then we've got this that just happened on Monday. And then we've got Tyron Woodley fighting against Jake Paul next. That's already confirmed. And it wouldn't surprise me.
At least Tyron Woodley's going to make a lot more money than he ever going to make in the UFC.
Yeah, I know, Source, but this is what I'm saying. Like, is this what we're doing now? We're going to branch off and make a whole new type of
Well, this is what I'm saying. The whole sport is a shambles.
I don't know what's going on.
The whole
Dana, listen, Dana. I know you don't. Dana, please.
I'm not going to say the whole sport, but a section of the sport is a shambles. Because there are some promotions out there that are running really good stuff.
But so Source, over to you. Just give it to them. Light them up.
For that and for the whole shambles that, we're allowing this rubbish to come into boxing and people are eating it up to the point where they're getting paid a lot of money on these pay-per-views. To all the people out there that bought the pay-per-view, this is to you. To all the people out there that are accepting this rubbish coming into boxing and taking over this great sport that has seen many champions come and go. For that, this week, that is the lemon of the week.
Terrible Source. I can't believe it. Oh, what has it come to? Anyway, let's move on. We might as well just get it done and dusted now and get it out of the way, all right? So then we don't have to talk about this crap anymore for the rest of the show. But Logan Paul, we're into hobby talk now, and this is hobby related. So Logan Paul walks out with a BGS 10 first edition Charizard around his neck as he's bit of bling. Pop 4, I believe, Source, or Pop 3 on that card.
Pop 3.
Got asked about it post-fight. All the memes, you'll see them out there. Everyone just doctoring that and doing their own little thing, which was very entertaining, to be honest. But he said in a post-fight interview, now, I'm going to be a bit excited about Logan Paul saying this because, Source, what did we say? It's going to be $1 million card. Now, the card's probably not worth $1 million, but the fact that Logan Paul's saying that it's worth $1 million, it's probably going to get to $1 million now. So he came out and he said this Zard was worth $1 million. Someone asked him, a reporter asked him, what's that worth? And it was funny. It got all eyes back onto cards. Logan Paul is a big advocate for trading cards, and props to him. Like, I got respect for the guy. I just wasn't happy about the fight in terms of what it was promoting, really. But I respect him as a content creator and everything that he's worked hard to achieve. I really do. And he's been massive for Pokemon. He's gone quiet, and everyone was like, where's Logan gone? Obviously, we've seen a few things with him in Golden Auctions, and he just went very quiet. And then all of a sudden, he's walked out with his Zard, and he's back onto trading cards just like that, becoming a big advocate and promoting it as much as possible, whether it's for his financial gain or not. But would not surprise me with Pokemon getting a bit of a run-up and him putting out some more content behind it. Would not surprise me.
It was pretty funny that it was a BGS 10 Doma, and he teamed up with obviously PSA to get his break cards quickly graded, and then he's rolled out with the BGS 10, which we know is far superior to a PSA 10.
BGS is back now. There's your marketing. It's all over. They're back. That's all they needed.
Do you know what was funny? I seen a comment that there was a post out there on Instagram, and someone wrote a comment, something about BGS. Maybe they've gotten on top of the marketing. I'm like, yeah, I highly doubt it. I think this is just by fluke that Logan has decided to pull out the BGS 10 instead of the PSA 10.
Legit, but I don't know. It was good. It was good to see. It's a sick card. It really is. In a nice slab, and it's low pop, and that's what everyone's talking about at the moment. So it's low pop cards, considering the market's gone down a fair bit. So everyone's like, oh, we'll go and try and collect low pop cards and numbered low pop cards and try and slab them up, get them raw. It's the way the market's going at the moment with the dip, and that's the trend. So it was just funny. He's come out with a low pop card that has seen struggling prices on it in recent months. Obviously, a decline in it. And then because of its pop report, he's come out and said it's worth $1 million. Literally, straight off the bat, it's worth $1 million. And the funny thing is, we say it's $1 million, but that's USD. So Source is probably, if we convert it, 1.2 mil if we're talking our dollars. So it'll far eclipse what we originally predicted. We said it'd get to $1 million Australian, but there you go, potentially 1.2. So good stuff there by Logan to put that out. Source, Blockchain Boys. Let's get into it. Bit of a different flavor to it this week. It's an all-college affair for Blockchain Boys on the Panini Blockchain store. Run through it, because some of these, the patches are sick.
Trevor Lawrence Immaculate. As we know, these are all 1-1. Zach Wilson, collegiate patch, on card. Trey Lance, collegiate patch, on card again. These are all on card, so which is good, which is what we want to see with the 1-of-1s, Doma. Jameer Chase, collegiate patch. Travis Etienne, Jr., 1-of-1 collegiate patch. The Rashad Bateman, 1-of-1 collegiate patch. And then the Terrence Marshall 1-of-1 collegiate patch out of Immaculate. All of these cards, we'll click in and have a closer look at the Trevor Lawrence, the number one bad boy here. That is a sick patch. And I'll tell you what, his auto is better than some of the ones we've seen. So that is Blockchain Boys for this week.
I got a question about that, Sauce. I got to ask it because it's it's the hobby, and you got to ask these questions. Is it a 1-of-1 RPA of these guys as college players? Because as we know, some Trevor Lawrence cards and stuff have come out. But is it an RPA or the RC logo? Sorry, I should rephrase that. Is the RC logo then not going to be on the NFL cards now? Because it's on their college cards?
No, most definitely is going to be on there.
No, I'm just being a smart ass. But it's funny how they put the RC logo on the card.
Yeah, it is funny. Probably to bump it up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's an RC college card. That's the way you got to look at it. I don't know. It's just, because you know what it's like. Oh, that's the first rookie card. So technically.
Yeah, I understand people's perception, but it's just.
Patrick Bamford got an RC at 30 years old, so.
We don't know. Panini has got funny things. I mean, they've been doing this for a while, putting RCs on the collegiate stuff, which is, I get it. But yeah, he did.
I just had to put it out there.
I get you.
Bit of a gag, and I was just, sometimes it does get confusing because people will ask that question. We thought we may just answer that before people ask it. All right, Sauce. Let's get over to Cardboard Connection. And as we said in previous weeks, we wanted to start deep diving a little bit more into checklists and more hobby-related stuff around products that are being released. Now, it's been out for a few weeks now, Core Kings. A few weeks or a week? A few weeks, I'm pretty sure. When did it come out? Was it 2 weeks ago, Sauce? May 26th. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, week and a half. So we want to go through the checklist. By this stage, everyone's had a bit of a preview of it, seen it getting broken down in breaks. You've bought your own, potentially. You've ripped it, or you've just gone out and just looked at eBay sales. For Core Kings, the cards look very nice, Sauce. Got that artist look to it, as if they've been painted on, which is fantastic in my opinion. I like that type of stuff, those type of cards. And we'll get it up on the screen as well when Saucy can, and we'll discuss it. We'll go through it from the get-go, from go to woe. There is a bit of stuff in terms of variations, but we'll talk about some of the key guys.
Cardboard Connection article, the checklist.
Yeah, checklist. There it is.
All right, just let me bring it up.
We'll get your thoughts on it as well, big fella.
Got pictures of the cards there too, which is good.
So yeah, you happy with it so far? What you've seen of the product?
I mean, look, I'm not like a super Court Kings fan. I never been. But it's look, it's an interesting one because look, there's a few cards in there that I like. Like the blank slates, I think they look sick. But it's it's personal preference. But I think it'll just be an interesting one to go in and have a look. All right, let's bring it up. Donna. We've got the Court Kings cards.
A bit of pre-info on this. Sorry for people that are listening. We'll read it out to you clearly. But if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see some of the images of what the cards look like. But first of all, 1 pack per box, 10 cards per pack, 16 boxes per case. So keep that in mind. 2 autos or relics per box, 1 rookie, 2 inserts, 1 parallel. So that's what you are to get. The rest will be base. So as you can see, the rookie variants, if you're watching at home, come in 4 tiers. Level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Level 4 looks pretty good, Source.
Looks pretty cool.
I don't mind the look of them.
I don't mind the look of the level 2 and the level 3. I think they've got a cool aspect to it. It's interesting because it seems like it's a bit of like a street artist look, the 2 and 3 and the 1 behind it, and then it's got the guys in front. Then we've got the inserts, the work in progress insert. We can see here the Obi Toppin work in progress, where it's half of it is sort of sketched out, the bottom half of the card, the top half is colored in. And then you've got the Aurora, the Le Cinque Più Belle, which, look, people love that insert, the Le Cinque Più Belle. I'm not a super fan. I don't think it looks amazing. I wouldn't die over it. People pay ridiculous money for it because it is a rare insert. I think the Aurora definitely looks better, in my personal opinion. But once again, it all comes down to preference. This is the good thing with cards. But yeah, we're just going through and having a look and giving our opinions. Personally, I'm not a massive Court Kings fan, but there are a lot of people out there that collect the Court Kings set. So if you're looking for opportunity, Court Kings is definitely one. And the wax prices on Court Kings, we've seen last year what they're doing. So, be mindful of that. If you're looking at maybe buying a sealed box and holding on to it, it could be a thing. But yeah, it's always good to have a look at the checklist and see, especially when you're going to open a product, having a look and sussing out the autos and who's in it and so on. You've got the fresh paint hair apparent here, the LaMelo, you can see it. It's nice card. It's the horizontal version. Looks good. Legacy portraits. Now, these ones here, I like them. I like the look of it. I think it's cool.
I like that card. What you can see here is a KG. And the one thing about these cards, in person, not off of photos, in person, I mean in terms of like you watch a break and they put it up to the camera and you can see the quality of the card. The cards look so much better than looking just at an image as well. Like you really do see the detail in the card, which is pretty cool. So go on, Source. Obviously, we've got the base set with parallel cards in there.
Yeah, base set. So the base set is 67 cards on the base set. There's the number to 149, number to 99, number to 99, number to 99 atheist, number to 99 pink, the violet number
Amethyst,
to 49.
Amethyst, not atheist.
Yeah,
number
amethyst.
To 99, don't believe in God. What are you doing? Amethyst.
Apologies.
Oh wow.
All right, so let's run back through the amethyst number to 99, pink number to 99. Why have they called it amethyst? Why isn't it a color like everything else?
Panini,
Violet, jade number 25, the sapphire number 25, and then the masterpiece card number to 1. And then you got the rookie set checklist. You got there's 132 cards in it. You got the level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. We've showed that previously. And then here's the brush strokes checklist, which is one of the auto variants in there. That's a 30 card checklist. You can go through and have a look at this article on Cardboard Connection. We'll even drop the article in the description. So if you want to have a suss. Yeah, look, he's in every product. Let's be honest. He is autographed.
There's Roy Hibbert Source. Oh, shit, yeah.
Who?
Roy Hibbert. He played for the Lakers, mate. You should know who he is.
I know who he is. He was good in his days in Indiana, but the league went past him when he couldn't shoot an outside shot and he was slow as a dinosaur.
You can get Pat Riley in there as well, and
fresh paint autographs checklist. All of these have variants. Go check them out. Go have a look. There's 45 cards in that one. Then there's another heir apparent. I believe there's different variations. 45 cards in that one. The holding court signatures. checklist. There's 38 cards in that one. Then there's 30 cards in the Impressionist Ink set checklist. Cool. And then there's the Legacy Portrait set checklist, which is the ones I like. That's got 10 cards. You got Iverson, Barkley, Kareem, Trae Young, Julius Erving, Steph Curry, D Wade, Kevin Garnett, Ja Morant, Shaquille O'Neal. I'll definitely be looking to maybe potentially pick up a Shaquille O'Neal out of that set.
That's a sick set.
I like that one. And then it keeps going on. There's the memorabilia relics checklist. There's the Art Nouveau or whatever relics checklist. Nouveau. There you go, Doma. Why didn't you just come in and actually read the word while you let me stumble here
you got the best pronunciation in the hobby game, Source, in my opinion.
The artistic. What sort of word is that? Nouveau. What does that mean?
Type it in Google. I gotta make sure I don't get this wrong, so I will do it. Nouveau. New. It means new. It means new.
Modern or update.
I'm going to Nouveau. It's actually nouveau. I'm listening to Google speak it to me, Source. Nouveau. 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 That's what it is.
Anyway, absolute gibberish if you ask me. Artistic endeavors, relics, so on. It keeps going on. As you can see, anyone who's watching this on YouTube, it goes on and on and on. It's an interesting one. Modern Strokes, Maestros, these are familiar ones. Dress to Impress, well. Le Cinque Pubelle, First Steps. There's a whole bunch of different inserts and sets within the Court King set.
Zion Williams. What about
people love that. I'm not saying I'm a big fan. I think there's cooler inserts out there that have more aesthetic appeal than that, in my opinion. But what do I know? And once again, it comes down to personal preference.
Correct.
But it's an interesting set. I think there's the autos in it are pretty good. It could be a little bit better. They could put Giannis in there and he might just never sign it. So that's probably why they've taken him out and stopped putting him in some sets, because he just doesn't sign cards. But a lot of these are stickers, I believe, again, which is, disappointing, because some of the numbered stuff from last year, the portraits, I know were on card, and we understand the whole situation around COVID, and player exposure to people and whatever, but it's still disappointing that they're not finding a way to get these products, which we know to have on-card autos, back to getting on-card autos. We accepted it for the first few sets, but now, as we can see, it seems to be that the States is somewhat back to normality with full stadiums and whatnot. We want our products somewhat back to normality. I'm not saying don't put stickers. I buy stickers. I'm not one of those people that shits on sticker autos. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, because by doing stickers, you allow the opportunity to get more autos in products. But I think Panini needs to focus on getting back to the on cards in the sets that we knew had on cards previously, if you get what I mean. So it'd be good if that's the case. But yeah, Doma, anything out of that you like in terms of the the little mini sets, the Aurora, the blank slate. There's the blank slate and the portrait is two that I like out of the set.
Yeah, I like. Where is it? So I can actually not that one. Aurora, I like. I do like the Aurora. The cards look good. So obviously we saw the Luka the Don up the top. There was a preview of it. Dress to Impress, not really. I don't mind the Cinque Pubelle. It's not the worst. But honestly, Legacy Portraits, I like a lot. I really like the Legacy Portrait Source.
There you go. That's what they look like, Doma.
Nouveau, just a little. It's a little patch.
Yeah, look.
It's actually called a jersey, but anyway, it's called a patch now apparently. So,
let's see what it says here. This enclosed officially licensed material is not associated with any specific player, game, or event. So why you would go out and buy those Art Nouveau, Why you would
Newberg.
go out and buy them, I have no idea. When the player itself, maybe there's a Ja Morant, maybe that one's worth it because it might actually, be associated with the player.
Is there any?
That's from last
leg-
year. That's actually from last year. So these are the new ones from this year.
Is
The
there any
Wiseman.
legacy portrait signature card source? Be nice to actually bring up some of those. That'd be my favorite. Like as Saul said, look, you got Barkley, AI, Trae Young, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Julius Erving, Steph Curry, D Wade, KG, Ja Morant, and Shaquille O'Neal. Some sick cards in there.
There you go. There's a Kareem.
Kareem. What's that? What's that number 2? What variant's that? Because obviously,
that's numbered to 35.
So just a ruby or a jade? No, it's a jade. Jade and ruby. No,
I'll chuck that on the watch list, Doma.
He's
the Trae Young.
Trae is obviously going to go for a bit, mate. We send that to Mars Sports Cards for Lukey. Why not? He loves Trae. I know it's not his.
There's the rookie. KG. I want to see they've got the.
We want Shaq, baby.
Iverson. Yeah, I'm just looking for a Shaq. D Wade. I'll chuck that in the watch list. Why not?
Yeah, mate. Why not, mate? We can
you never know what it's going to get up to. It's interesting.
It's true.
I mean, it's a new set out, so. Shaquille O'Neal's a redemption, so. He hasn't signed his stuff. Come on, Shaq Attack, get signing, buddy.
That's it. Easy.
Beautiful, Doma.
There you go. Well, that's the first one we've really gone in depth. We've been through a few in previous pods, but we will definitely keep bringing it to you. Gives us a bit of content.
If there's any set that you want us to have a look at, I mean, we try to have a look at more upcoming sets.
We might put it out to we might even put it out to our listeners and followers, to you, the family out there. And if really, you might just say, look at this checklist from this year. And you know what? We'll go and look at it. And there's an article on here, source, just to add insult to injury to me. Hottest Nikola Jokic rookie cards. What's the first one? Prism.
Of course it is.
Guess who had it? Me. Guess who sold it? Me. Oh, well, shit happens.
All right, moving on, Doma.
Anyway, moving on. Just quickly, I know we don't really go into the space of NFTs, but technically we do when we talk about blockchain, boys, because it's a mixture. It's a bit of a hybrid in our segments. But I came across an article on the Knights Lance on Panini's website, and it was about, for a limited time, people like Saucy uses this, but people that are on the NBA Dunk digital trading card application. Anyone that uses it at the moment has a rare opportunity to collect the biggest moments from the end of 2020-2021 regular season, as well as some of the instantly iconic moments from the first round of the NBA playoffs with Panini Instant Digital Cards. New cards are released daily, but are available in the app for just 1 week. So make sure to complete your sets now. Adding to the instant intrigue, Panini Instant Cards now include a massive contest bonuses. Base instant cards include a 3x, whatever, blah. Green instants, which are 500 or less. Black, which are 50 or less. Instant signatures limited to 25. So, source, there's a few things that, like, wording and stuff is very, very important when reading articles, and using words such as moments in there as well, and being numbered is very, very
around that top shot.
It actually is very important wording when you look at it. So if no one's on it, no one's on it. Source and I dabble in it. You know what? It's free to play. You just sit there, you open it, your daily packs, you have a laugh, you get some numbered cards, and you're laughing. And who knows, in 50 years' time, you might be trying to collect the NBA dunk card and people paying crazy prices for it, like they did what Top Shot was. Anyway, so that's it on that. I just thought I'd just bring people's attention. If you're not on there and you want virtual cards as well as physical cards, NBA Dunk app. Now, Sauce, the last thing I want to touch on before we get into Saucy Smoky and wrap up the show for tonight was during the week, I was watching a lot of pool wax content. I'm just catching up on it, obviously, because we're in lockdown. So go through, catch up on pool wax and the crossover and LTB and just doing all that stuff. And I came across a video when the pool wax crew, Michael Vinokur and Cahoon. Is it Cahoon? I think it's Cahoon. Pretty sure. Apologies if I've got whoever was with him wrong. Went down to Tampa. And there was a show down in Tampa. And it just made me think, Sauce, once this whole lockdown situation ends, and bringing it back to Malvern when we were there earlier in the year, and obviously it wasn't what we expected it to be, because it wasn't, I don't know, offering people what they really wanted in terms of like the genre of the hobby that people were interested in. But small show, Sauce, do you think, in opinion, it's an opinion, it's how you feel. I just put the question out there to you, to anyone that listens to this, feel free to DM us and discuss with us. But do you think small shows, Sauce, here in Australia, whether it be in Victoria, are a must? I'm not talking like hobby hangout stuff, because I consider that a large scale show, what Andrew puts on there. And he does a fantastic job. I'm talking about some smaller shows, hall shows potentially, booking out a conference room at a venue that's big enough to hold trestle tables, and people can just buy in, put their cards down, show their collection, as well as buy stuff. So what's your thoughts on it? It's probably on NBA Dunk. Collecting the moments.
Yeah, look, the NBA dunk thing, I think it's something that we mentioned a while back. And, you know, if you listen to LTB, you would have obviously heard Mount Rushmore Sports Cards talking about this. And, you know, it's free. Like, you don't, doesn't cost you anything to play. So, you know, why not? And if it turns into something, hey, you were one of the first people to use the app and you get rewarded. So for me, it was just a no-brainer. It's free. So it costs you no money if you don't want to pay for it. So, which is great. It's brilliant. If you've got a young kid or someone, definitely get them involved in it. It's a good way for people, for kids to open packs and get their cards and things like that. It's cool. It's a cool little app. They do need to improve it, but yeah, go for it. On the other note, about small shows, I think this is a must. I think this is something that in Australia needs to be on the radar of people organizing. That we have these smaller events, you know, whether it be a conference room, as you said, Doma, whether it be a gym hall, whether it be a town hall, something of this nature where it's potentially, you know, the possibility for a maximum of 50 tables or whatever, and go down there and you know, set it up, because these give people a lower price point to enter the market if they want to set up a table. We've seen it at the Melbourne Town Hall show, in the Melbourne Trading Card Show. To set up a table was $60. To set up a table at Hobby Hangout was $150, but Hobby Hangout was a bit more. As you said, Doma, it was very well organized, very well run by the organizers, so we can understand the sort of, there was entertainment and other things there that was other than just the people, you know, buying and selling cards. Whereas if you're just in a hall or a gymnasium or a conference area, it would just be mainly, you know, buying, selling, and trading. And I think this is a place that we need to get to in this country, where there's possibly, you know, say in Melbourne, if there's a massive following here, that, you know, there's a show every 6 weeks. I would be saying, you know, 6 to 8 weeks. Every 6 to 8 weeks there should be a show. We know, like in America, the market's massive, and we get that. It's much different to down here, but they've got shows pretty much every week, right? Pretty much every week. Now, whether that's in your area, say if you live in, you know, New York area, around there, whether there's shows every week there, I don't think there is, but I do know regularly every few weeks there is a show around the parts around your area, especially if it's a bigger collected area, California and things like that. But I think that's where we need to get to. And there are some guys out there that organize some shows now, and I think it's just a matter of finding that network of people that's gonna be setting up consistently and then building upon that, because there was many people that came down to the Melbourne Town Hall, or the Melbourne Town Hall, sorry, and that show that we went to, Doma, here in Melbourne, and they were disappointed with the range of cards that was there. A lot of AFL, sort of what we've grown to know, but the card market down here has evolved since then. There's some, very avid basketball collectors, soccer, and NFL even. So and baseball. There's guys down here that also buy into baseball, especially if you're one of the people that doesn't want to pay overs for boxes. Baseball is one of the sports where the boxes are still very, very, very reasonably priced. So you can open stuff at good prices. So that attracts people. So I think it's something that we need to get towards and work towards. It's not going to come overnight. The hobby hangout was a great step. I think the hobby hangout can be essentially the one of the main shows that travels the country, and then in between that there needs to be some smaller shows, and I think there's definitely a market for someone to start organizing or trying to set up a show in Sydney. Especially, we've seen how big and how successful Hobby Hangout did, but the way this is looking, Hobby Hangout won't be back to Sydney until probably next year. Unless they do one later in the year, we don't know. So in the meantime, they've got all this time that someone could be, potentially looking to get a hall, looking to get a conference area, and setting up another show in that area. So
there's heaps you can do with it, Source, as well, that of benefit. And that's one thing that I noticed while watching that Pool X vlog. Whether it was at the Dallas Card Show or Tampa Bay, which Dallas is obviously the Hobby Hangout version for us. Not as big, but it's technically, I'm saying it's the big show that we have at the moment, is the Hobby Hangout. But the networking and the friends that they're making within their state or different states, Hobby Hangout's more like interstate type of stuff, and you'll meet people from interstate traveling in and getting to meet people from Sydney and Queensland and all that, Perth. But at your locals, it is so good to network with these people and not know them just as a username on social media, not even knowing who the person is. Be able to do trades live, actually build a relationship with these people. So going forward, people always look in the hobby, we look out for each other anyway, but you get to know the person, they get to know what you're interested in your PC. So if they come across things, they'll send it to you. Even trade nights, you just even get together, have a chat just about the hobby, as well as showing off your collections and buying off of each other and just everything. It's a good way, and I know a lot of people have mentioned obviously mental health and how the hobby has helped them so much. What's a better way than to actually meet new people as well, Source, and actually share your love for the hobby with other people that have like-minded interests as you. So I think it is definitely something. It's a great networking tool, a great content creating tool as well for people out there that are in that space. It's just all around fun. I think it's something that shouldn't just be killed off because it's a small thing and it's small things don't have impact, but that mentality. But I think small things will have impact in this space. Obviously, COVID-free.
Yeah, and they will have impact if there's able to get some consistency to them, Doma. I think that's maybe my go. I did get the bloke's number from the Melbourne trading card fair, the one that we went to. So maybe I might have to give him a call this week and see how he is and potentials of what's to go with setting up another one, and maybe we can help him connect with some people that would be interested in buying a table at $60, because that's very reasonable. That's a very reasonable price. You can make that back on one sale, and that will give more people an opportunity to come down there and set up a table and get some other cards that are there that's just better and bigger than just AFL.
Done.
Yeah,
good. Well, it's just one of those things. It'd be good if you can send through your thoughts and let us know how your feelings around it. We might even put something out in our story as well, just to engage your feedback. All right, Sauce, last segment of the show. Saucy Smoky, what have you got?
Saucy Smoky this week. The Smoky that I'm giving is here we go. Let's just bring it up. We're gonna bring it up. So the Smoky I'm giving is not a card, but just a guy, Shaquille O'Neal. His cards, they got a massive run up. They've now cooled off a lot, a heap. We're seeing cards here. Look, obviously this is monthly change, and then I've put it in order of the most percentage. You've got here the trade card, PSA 10. Is down 53%. The gold raw card down 51%. The beam team, Gary V's favorite card, PSA 9, down 47%. You got the base, PSA 10, down 38%. You got the gold PSA 9, now down back below 300, which is a very, very good price. It topped at Doma, just under 1,400, just about 1,400. Just under 1,400. It's now back down to $300.
Far out.
So I think, ladies and gents, like this is a time, they weren't really back at this price until last year. The start of the year, or around December, they were sort of around the $200 mark. Now they're back selling for just under 300. I think this is a good time to potentially, go in there and get yourself a piece of Shaquille O'Neal. So for that, you do your research. I'm not going to go in there and tell you what card to get. There's a few that I've got. I've got a PSA 10 in the Shaquille O'Neal and the hoops. Oh, I'm glad to see that finally the Shaquille O'Neal 1992 hoops card has made it onto Card Ladder, because I nominated that and put it in the I submitted it as an option, so people had to upvote it. I'm glad that people eventually did upvote it and it got loaded on there, because it baffled me the fact that Zion Williamson's rookie card, NBA Hoops, was on their PSA 10 and Shaquille O'Neal's wasn't. So props to the Card Ladder team for getting that one done. So happy to see it on there. And I bought this, funny enough, for around $125, and now it's back down to selling for $130. So I'm more than comfortable to go out and say, Shaquille O'Neal is an amazing buy at this current point in time. Let's just remember this guy has won 2 finals MVPs, a season MVP, 4 championships. He's done it all. And if the bloke could hit free throws, he probably would have been top 3 scoring all time.
Probably. Good shout there, 100%. Now, like Saul said, do your research into what you like. There is an article on Cardboard Connection as well. If you want to go look at that, give you some good tips. We also went through on a lockdown lounge. It would be titled Shaq Rookies. We went really in depth on this, but Sauce is giving this a play because honestly, it's good to be true at the moment, because cards are pretty much getting back to its low point.
6 months lows. They're getting back to this what they were 6 months ago, December, November last year, where it was a massive buying period, where the market was down. Then we've seen the market rise up to where it did over March, April, and now it's back down to those points. So I was confident. I was buying all these cards then. So now I'm confident again. Like these cards are back down. They're back down to a level that I'm comfortable pulling the trigger. This is the one that I'll be looking at trying to get next. Probably a PSA 9, because the PSA 10's just, super expensive. I mean, the PSA 10 was once selling for $6,000. Now it's down to, $2,500, which is still good. But the PSA 9, which was previously selling for around the $100 mark and went up to as high as $430, is back now down to $130, $120. So it's only, it's only $20 above what I previously was going to buy it for anyway. I just didn't happen to snag one up at the time. So now it's back down to those levels. You have a look at this graph, as you'll see how the movements on it. It's interesting. Back down to around 100, move up, rise up, 300, 200, 250, back down, around to 100 mark, just around Christmas time, November, Christmas time, when people have no money for cards and plenty of money for Christmas gifts. So the card market usually takes a dip. This is, I've only been doing this, and I'm going on the record saying, I've only been doing this for two and a half years. But in those 2.5 years, I've noticed 2 periods over Christmas where the market really dies off. So anyone out there, if you're listening to this, I'd be accumulating funds, accumulating stuff, because I think there's going to be a bit of another market rise potentially, but come Christmas time around this year, it's it could be another buying opportunity. Now, I'm not saying that right now isn't a buying opportunity. I think it is. There's a lot of people out there not knowing whether we've hit the bottom of the market. I'm at the view of, I'm not going to get out there and say, oh, this is the bottom, because no one ever knows the bottom. But I'm out here saying I'm comfortable buying at these levels, because from where the cards were, they're back to the levels where I thought they were too cheap back in December last year. And I was buying a hell of a lot then. Stopped buying over that period, sold quite a few cards, stuff that I'd bought for a lot cheaper, obviously securing those profits and then using that money to buy some other stuff. But now it's at that point where, you got to seriously look, and if you're really believe in cards and believe in card collecting and its longevity, if you aren't buying cards now, it's I'm sort of don't know what you're doing, because this, the old motto, buy low, sell high. Well, this is the perfect opportunity for you to do that. So, ladies and gents,
I even went out there because Source, obviously, as I said, he was telling me buy the Topps Shaq rookie a while ago, and I didn't listen to him, and then it got to really high levels. But I'm buying the card. Sometimes I don't buy the slab, I buy the card. I like it when it is slab because it is protected. So I went and bought an SGC 8.5 Source for $22. $22. I got a Shaq rookie, so I'm not complaining.
Well, and this is what I'm saying. There's people out there. There's people out there paying literally $20 for some Zion variant rookie, NBA premium hoops rookie card. When you can go buy a Shaq. I'm not shitting on Zion. I love Zion. I think he's going to be a beast. But when you compare the two and what they've accomplished, it just doesn't make sense that now the Shaqs are selling for nearly the same price again, which is what we've seen. It was what I pointed out to people. Modern guys shouldn't be selling for the same price as the guys who have gone there and done it. And Shaq is one of those guys who has gone there and done it. So it's a great opportunity. And even for Kobe's, I've already bought one Kobe for the PC. Doma picked up the Upper Deck Hot Prospects card, the rookie card, and that came down a heap. So go out there and look for those bargains.
Easy. All right, Source. Done and dusted, mate. Good stuff. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I know we clashed with State of Origin, so we may have lost a few viewers along the way. But thank you for your comments. Your support as well is always much appreciated. Feel free to share it, as we always say, as we do have the promo at the end, but feel free to share it to people that may be interested in this podcast, our YouTube channel, and just put the love and share the love out there, because, as you know, we will do the same for yourselves. All right, Source. It's been Dom and the great man Source. Keep living, loving, and breathing sport. It's double coverage, and peace.
Peace out, ladies and gents. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports, double coverage.